This great Western show about Wyatt Earp beat Gunsmoke to a TV record by just 4 days. The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp is a television series that aired in the late 1950s, exploring the infamous adventures of the American lawman as he traveled through the Wild West and famously fought against the dangerous cowboys. The show was an immense success that really helped push Westerns into mainstream media, where they had previously existed solely as huge cinematic events. In particular, this series was among the best Western shows of all time thanks to its gripping storytelling and interesting, complex characters based on real figures. Additionally, The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp was a very educational series that taught audiences much about this real person, although much of his narrative was exaggerated for entertainment value. It became one of the defining stories about this period of history and contributed strongly to Earp's role as the most famous lawman remembered from the Wild West period. His story was later told in multiple other films and series, with many projects focusing closely on the dynamic between Wyatt Earp and his friend Doc Holliday. The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp was the first Western TV show for adults. What's most noteworthy about The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp is that it was among the first Western TV shows that didn't dilute its story to please family audiences. The genre had previously been one that children and adults alike could enjoy, as the violence wasn't too gruesome, and the conflicts essentially always boiled down to simple narratives of good versus evil. The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp didn't do this, however, and presented a much more mature and complicated retelling of the story. It beat Gunsmoke to this by just a few days, but remains the clear holder of this achievement. This mature storytelling was something that had previously been restricted to the movies, and The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp's attempts to bring the adult Western to the small screen was exactly what made it such a noteworthy project. The best Western movies ever made all had violent scenes and slow-paced storytelling, but this was something that previously hadn't been translated to the small screen until this show. The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp and Gunsmoke started a Western TV boom. As a result, The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp is often understood as the series that really kick-started the boost in popularity that TV Westerns saw throughout the 50s and 60s. Where the films had always been popular thanks to their huge sets, movie star performances, and complex action scenes, TV shows like The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp did a great job of proving that Westerns can exist without those huge budgets, with a clearer focus on storytelling and episodic character development. Consequently, many other shows quickly tried to replicate the success that had been achieved with The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp. There was a huge boost in the genre's popularity, and Wyatt Earp quickly became the face of a huge cinematic movement several years after the real figure's death. His story was retold in many different ways, with the most popular example being Kurt Russell's reimagining of the Earp vendettas in Tombstone several decades later. How The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp compares to Tombstone and other Wyatt Earp Westerns. Tombstone is still the best Wyatt Earp retelling. There have been countless projects about Wyatt Earp in the years since this formative series, and while the original show holds up surprisingly well given its age, there's no denying that films like Tombstone and Hour of the Gun retell the story in more entertaining, accessible ways. Russell's film is often hailed as the definitive version of this narrative, and it's hard to disagree. The film has everything that audiences have ever wanted from a Western: fierce lead performances, intricate storytelling, and several groundbreaking action sequences that pay homage to the genre's history while pushing it forward. Tombstone is one of Kurt Russell's best Western movies, and it's hard to beat its baroque, complex storytelling. But respect should also be paid to The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp for making the story popular in the first place. Tombstone is one of Kurt Russell's best Western movies, and it's hard to beat its baroque, complex storytelling. But respect should also be paid to The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp for making this story popular in the first place. The way that it broke free of contemporary conventions and attempted to bring the intense, gritty storytelling of movie westerns onto the television for the first time shouldn't be overstated. Many of the best western series today wouldn't exist without this one coming first.